Okay, everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are
Hi.
so excited to be here with you. We have been talking about doing this for a while now, and we can't believe we're actually finally doing this.
Right.
So we're really excited. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time and just learning about Grace, Flow, and Ease, I'm Cheryl Dodd Baldwin.
And I'm Mary Ellen Finnerty. And together we wrote the book, Living with Grace, Flow, and Ease.
Yes, and the book is all about stories that Mary and I shared, where in our life we had this energy that seemed to always pave the way for us and just open things up, so that things went really smoothly in most situations. I mean, life is life, but we were aware that there was something that was always working with us, and most of us would call that synchronicity. And that's how we thought of it, was synchronicity. And for most of my life, and I think for most people, it's just kind of interesting when synchronicity shows up. But what we were actually shown was that there is a way to call on it, and it gave us a name one day, and it was Grace, Flow, and Ease. And we talk more about that and tell that story in the book, and we won't go into all of that right now.
Yeah, they're a kind of energy. They carry their own sweet energy, and when we invoke Grace, Flow, and Ease and ask them to be present with us, it makes a huge difference.
A big difference, yes. And so what they were showing us was that we could actually invoke them and call on them. And when we started doing that, it was amazing what started opening up. And so we use it all the time for, Grace, Flow, and Ease. Please bless my day, or Grace, Flow, and Ease, help us get through this, or help us get through this next thing, with Grace, Flow, and Ease. And so what we learned over a period of time was that this was really a lifestyle. It was a way of being more focused, more present, more just in life in a whole different way. And so that's what we really wanted to share with each other and bring together in this way.
Why don't we see who's here?
Okay, so I'm going to just take a moment here. We're trying to work several different things here at one time. So let me just see if we can see who's here on the side. Now, on the sidebar, for a lot of you, you're going to see there'll be a place where you can chat. Let me go here and see if I can make this up. You have to bear with us in all of the technology and the things that we're trying to juggle here at one time. We don't have camera people and technology people here with us, so just bear with us as we try to get this all going. But did we say our names?
Yeah, we did, but I don't know.
Okay. All right, we don't know who's here, but we'll figure that out in a moment. But the thing about bringing this to all of you live was that we kind of think of it as like last year we were using the image of angels. Like, all of us are out in the world doing our thing and doing our work and being who we are in the world, and it's kind of like we wanted to create a space and time that we could all just kind of come together and more or less, take our angel wings off and just relax and be together and recharge and have a discussion about what does it mean to live this Grace, Flow, and Ease approach, and what does it mean to have more purpose and meaning in our life and to live more intentionally, and what does bring more purpose in life for each of us. So to have these discussions and to have this way of just sharing, and over the months we're going to be introducing people that we like and we want to share with you, and that we hope you'll find interesting, and that they can bring us tips and insights and food for thought and ways that we can just all come together and recharge. So this month I wanted to start the discussion with Mary's last blog. Now, for those of you that are new to us, we have a website, graceflowandease.com, and if you can see the chat box, we can't see it at the moment, but if you can see the chat box, it's up at the top, and that's our website. And then when you go there, on the front page on that left, there'll be a column that says blog posts, and we're working to post a blog once a week so that you have food for thought for the week. There's also a place at the end of the blog where you can put in your comments and feedback, which we love, and we recently changed the format of our website specifically for that, because we wanted people to be able to share their thoughts, share their stories, and ideas on all of that. So that we're really excited that that's there. You can find it. Don't go there now, because I'm going to ask Mary to read it to us, and then Mary and I'll have a discussion, and while she's reading, I'm going to see if I can't bring up the chat so that we can see all of your input and questions as well. So the title of her blog post that I really loved was No Dress Rehearsal. So Mary, go ahead.
Life comes at us every day, real life. From the mundane to the heroic measures that make up our day. It is all our life. From sitting in a traffic jam or waiting to check out in a grocery line, preparing dinner, reading a bedtime story, feeding the dog, or picking up the mail, or even causing a shift in a high-level meeting to result in a more positive and supportive way in the workplace, or saving a life, providing a homeless person with a blanket on a cold night, perhaps reaching out to a desperate teenager who cannot find an answer but needs a hand. Time goes by, and our lives continue to be made up of little things and big things, moments, memories, heartbeats. We come into this world with no promise of a dress rehearsal. It is important to wake up and recognize we are living the real thing. Someone is always talking about life being a journey, and it is the journey that really counts, that from it we find meaning, purpose, and true happiness. So soak it in. This is it. In closing, Father Alfred de Souza leaves us with these words, and I quote, "For a long time it seemed to me that life was about to begin, real life. But there was always some obstacle in the way, something to be got through first, some unfinished business, time still to be served, a debt to be paid. Then life would begin. At last it dawned on me that these obstacles were my life." End of quote.
Wow. So Mary, say a little bit more about that, about what had you write that, what was in your heart and mind as you wrote that blog.
Well, I was just sitting quietly one day and contemplating life and thinking about all kinds of different things and how it has gone up to certain places in my life, the different guideposts and milestones and benchmarks, and just thinking about life. And I guess a long time ago I had heard about there isn't a dress rehearsal, and it just kind of stayed there in my mind, and I decided this would be the blog I would share. And as I wrote, I wrote about the little things that we all have to deal with in life, and how sometimes we find ourselves uncomfortable or kind of grousing that we have to take the trash out or wash the dishes, but really there's a lot of beauty in the mundane, and all of it makes up our lifetime. So I have put into practice over quite a long time to just take the trash out and enjoy the trip. Some of you may remember that I often use that quote, and I can't remember who said it, but it's, "When treed by a bear, enjoy the view." So I don't know, it's like that.
Okay. Well, what it made me think of was, you know, right now time is going so fast, and I know that part of that is because I'm getting older. But I think for all of you that's on and people that I talk to as well, it's like time is speeding up. It is going so fast. I mean, look how fast everything happens on the internet, for example. Everything is just instantaneous. Life is, faster, faster, faster. And sometimes I have to just stop and say, whoa, wait a minute. It's happening right now. And in Buddhism, there's a practice where the monks would get up and they asked a question. They would live into a question for the day, and one of them might be, "Who am I?" And then they live into that question and allow the day and what occurs in the day to reveal to them, who they are and how they interact and that kind of thing. And the same thing is, my question has often been, what is life? What is life? What is the art of life? And so as I'm going, thinking about this, it is so easy to get caught up in, I've got to get this done, I've got to get that done, and then I'll do this. I can have fun when. I'll go on vacation when. And it made me think of my grandparents. I loved my grandparents. They were wonderful, wonderful people. But they always said, this is, we'll do this after retirement. We'll go to Mexico after retirement. We're going to save for retirement. And you know what? That never came. They had retirement, but by the time retirement came, they were so, I guess, locked into that pattern of later, 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 and they never made that trip, and they never, did those things, and that stuck with me. It was really sad that it's not later, it's now. And I don't mean that we don't go about life being, quote, practical or sensible. Doesn't mean you just quit your job and say, I'm flying to Istanbul tomorrow. But those moments where we, those things that we put off that we don't have to put off, and it's taking the time to smell the roses and notice that it is taking the trash out. I mean,
all of it. Yeah.
Can you imagine not taking the trash out? I can't. I mean, trash has to go out. Laundry, the same thing. That laundry is part of my life. Laundry is part of my day, and it reminds me of a post I did in Facebook earlier where I saw this little sign and it really caught me. It said, "Wash today or naked tomorrow." And I thought, well, that's a good choice. Wash today. Not that I'm a procrastinator and put it off, but I choose to do it. And it's also that whole thing of how we go about doing it, being present to it, and that it's all those things that make up life.
Yeah. It's a very sobering thought to me to think about coming to the end of life and finding out that I had my ladder against the wrong wall.
Oh gosh, that's Joseph Campbell. Yes, that sends chills up my spine every time I think about it. It's so true. It's that saying where he says, "There's nothing sadder than to come to the end of your life and realize your ladder was against the wrong wall." Wow. Or to have, those regrets or those whatever. That's not where I want to get at the end.
No. It's just being mindful and aware of the treasure that life is, that we've all been given, and living it fully and completely and as happily and joyfully as we can, and finding those spots of joy and surprise every day in the little things and the big things.
Yes, and I think that's it. And that's part of what Grace, Flow, and Ease is all about, too, is being mindful of those things and asking Grace, Flow, and Ease to help us get through those things. But it's so true. There isn't a dress rehearsal. It is what it is now. And I guess if I was to say, okay, I'm going to do the practice of going through my day and saying, okay, everything that occurs today, that's my life. And if I get to the end of the day and I'm not happy with that, then I'm called to make some changes and put some changes in. But sometimes those changes can just be small little things. Being more present, taking more time to just stop and, that old cliche, stop and smell the roses, but stop and pay attention, or do something that is just a little treat,
Like that day we were outside clearing the snow and you went down the street and the neighbors were just uttering thank you, thank you.
Oh yeah, that was last week. We had a big snowstorm, or a snowstorm up here in the Northeast. It wasn't big, but in the area where we live, people just help each other, which is really nice. And so I was out in the neighborhood down the street sweeping a neighbor's steps and whatnot, and it's up high, and we're up on a hill anyway, and so down the street in front of us is down below, and it's real easy to see, through to the block in front of us. But as I was sweeping the snow on the step, I was standing up on this higher area, and I could hear people, and I was just hearing a thank you, and then somebody else was saying thank you, and then somebody else was saying, well, hi, I haven't seen you, or gee, it's good to see you today, or boy, we really missed the bullet on that big storm, or whatever. It was people just taking a moment and saying thank you to each other, and it was all different people. It wasn't like somebody was thanking the same person. It was all different people yelling and greeting each other and saying thank you, and I just teared up. It was just taking a moment. I was thinking, wow.
Just taking a moment to say thank you.
To say thank you and to greet each other, and I was observing from up high, and even though I couldn't see the people, I could hear them, and just being in that beautiful, crisp, sunshine, snowy morning, listening to the neighbors and that chatter of thank you and hi, how are you was just whoa. We all could use more of that, right? So, but for me, that filled me up. That carried me through the day. I'm still talking about it. This is a week later. So it's those little cherished moments that are the elements of surprise. So in a way, there's no dress rehearsal. That's one thing. But then the other thing is, because there's not any dress rehearsal, we have lots of elements of surprise, which is wonderful too. So that brings a whole other thing. If any of you can see the chat on the side, if you want to send us some comments, we may be having trouble seeing your chats, I'm not sure, but give us a comment or just let us know you can see the chat. That would be great.
Yeah.
Or if you have any thought about this as well. One of the sayings I always heard when I was raising my 3 children was, there is no dress rehearsal for parenthood. And that's true. That was the good news and the bad news. There was no dress rehearsal. So I think that's true for all of us. So anyway, if there's any comments, okay, I'm not seeing any comments coming up. So if you are trying to comment and we're not getting it, I apologize. It may just be that we and one other person can see each other here. Mary, you have any other thoughts on that?
No, I think we've covered that.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that Mary and I are very passionate about, and it feels like such a wonderful experience of life for us, is food. We love great food. We love food prepared well, and food is something we talk about with our clients all the time. Healthy choices, food combinations, seasonal foods, glycemic scale, all those things. And so part of what we wanted to do today was we invited one of our favorite nutrition people around that we know is Rachel Stevenson, and we're going to invite Rachel to come in. She's a motivational speaker, a nutritional educator, nutrition educator, and she's a lot of fun. She's got a lot of great information. She thinks about food and approaches food in a healthy way, along with the same belief system that we are, which is we're not extremists. We're not going to be somebody who, when our clients come in, we don't tell them you've got to cut out everything and all you can eat is, styrofoam, or you have to do this diet or that diet. But we do believe in balanced, good, healthy choices. So, Rachel,
we love Rachel's approach to healthy eating.
Yes,
for sure.
And so we've asked her to join us today and give us some food tips for winter. So I'm going to see if I can bring Rachel in now. Hold on just a moment. All this technology. Rachel, are you there? Can you hear us okay?
Hi.
Hi, Rachel. Welcome.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's cutting in and out.
Have them.
If anybody can hear Rachel or having any trouble hearing Rachel, would you let us know? Just click in the chat box. Can you hear Rachel okay? I think something... Yeah, we must be having something going on with the chat boxes because they're not working right. They're not working, Rachel. So go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself, Rachel, and how you got started with what you do, because I think you were in the corporate world before, correct? And now you're doing your company called Reshaping Nutrition, which I love that name. That's
Yeah.
great. So, Rachel, go ahead. Can you?
So if you can't hear me, let me know, but I'll start. My name is Rachel. I grew up down in Maryland. I was from that neck of the woods. Very loving family, parents. We were a family of overindulgence, so we enjoyed everything, sometimes a little too much. And by the time I moved up here, I actually went back to my first degree in school, animation, completely unrelated, but obviously I like color. If you can see behind me, I'm all about staying. And I grew up with that degree, moved up to Maryland. I'm sorry, moved up to Pennsylvania. Went into sales. I did corporate sales for many years. Loved what I did. I liked selling, but wasn't happy with what I was doing. Was not in a healthy relationship. And at the age of 29, I weighed in at about 280 pounds. I had struggled with weight my entire life, but this was a new number for me, and it frankly scared me. My parents are both diabetic. My first cousin, who was exactly the same age as me, was diagnosed with diabetes right as he turned 30. My older sister also has diabetes, so I knew that if I continued on the path I was going, we were going to have some major problems with health. Fortunately, I was at a good enough point to catch it because I didn't have diabetes yet. I didn't have crazy high blood pressure numbers or cholesterol numbers, but I was heading in that elevated direction. So I decided to take care of my health. By that point, I was in a very supportive relationship, and I started a weight loss journey. Wound up losing about 120 pounds. I used a local popular weight loss program, but the difference at the time was I incorporated a lot of healthy cooking. I taught myself how to cook, use real foods, not do anything extreme. And within about 18 months, I lost about 120 pounds and have kept it off for about 4 years now. Back in 2000 and I think it was 10, at that point, I had lost about 100 pounds. Went back to school to get a degree in nutrition. I thought if I'm going to continue this path, I needed to learn more. And I really wanted to help others. My mother is probably been one of my biggest inspirations. My dad too, but my mom is the educator in the family. She was in corporate, or she was with the government for many, many years, but her part-time job was always teaching. And there was something about my mother that I really aspired to be. She taught people. She influenced people. She had students that looked at her as a role model, and I wanted to leave that type of legacy behind. And I couldn't do that in the corporate sales world, but I can do that in the nutrition and wellness world, selling the idea of healthy nutrition and taking care of yourself and loving yourself. You know, I love what you guys talk about. It's the same thing, really enjoying life and enjoying foods, but in a healthier way, to nourish our bodies and not to overindulge. So that's pretty much the background. I opened Reshaping Nutrition, really not just to reshape nutrition and food, but to reshape our mindset, to reshape our motivation, to reshape recipes, taking recipes that we know and we love and just making them healthier, and reshaping our attitudes. It's a lot of different things that went into that. You want to talk a little bit about some ways to nourish your body this time of year?
Yes, please. If you give us some tips on how to keep the body warm this time of year, what are the good seasonal foods for right now?
Absolutely. So a lot of times when we think health and wellness or weight loss or just eating healthy, we think about salads. We think about, eating just rice cakes. We think about these basic diet type foods. One of the things I can tell you is that the real goal here is to, just like Cheryl and Mary were saying, focus on a nice balanced plate. There's not an extreme thing to anything, but you want to focus on the half of the plate that's vegetables. How do we incorporate more vegetables? We want to not focus so much on salads this time of year. Salads are cold. They're not going to warm our bodies. Salads are okay in moderation, but add something warm to it if you're going to do salads. Or use those same greens, like the collard greens, the chard, the kale, and warm them up. Cook them so they're warmer for your body. Some of the things, I have a list here, so I'm going to look down for 1 second just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Some of the things in season right now, cabbage is still right there in season, nice cabbage dishes, but instead of doing a coleslaw, do like a cooked cabbage dish. Maybe a little bit of a turkey or a chicken sausage versus like a pork or a beef type of meat with it. Brussels sprouts, same part of the cabbage family. You could saute up some nice Brussels sprouts, add some citrus in it, great nutrients for your body. Any of the dark orange, I wore dark orange today in the spirit of this. Dark orange, anything dark orange is great this time of year. The squashes are still good to have, butternut squash, making a butternut squash soup, acorn squashes, there's lots of squashes, focusing on sweet potatoes, carrots, things that are going to be warming and bright in our bodies. Turnips and leeks are also good foods this time of year. And there's still certain citrus fruits out there that are in season. They're not coming from overseas. You can get them fairly local, just a little bit south of us. The other benefits to eating more seasonal is you're going to save money. It's also tastes better this time of year, and you get more nutrients because you don't have things that we're having to import that are coming from other countries and lose nutrients during travel time. Cook as much as you can on the stove, in the oven, in the toaster ovens, and less with the microwave so you don't lose more nutrients that way. Again, moderate portions. Find foods that are cozy and warm, so soups, crock pot meals, chilies, stews. These are all great warm foods this time of year. There are lots of great places online to look. I'm happy to share some of the links at the end so you can have some references to work with. But the main key here is go with those warm vegetables. Still have mainly vegetables, but try to incorporate those hotter vegetables in this season. And I'm just making sure, and spices. Spices are a big thing. This is the time of year to add in the warm spices, like the cinnamons, the cayenne peppers, turmeric, any of those warm, nurturing seasonings. And before you salt things, use onions and garlic and other things, ginger. Use those things to season your foods. And last, instead of going right for the regular salt, do like a Himalayan sea salt, something that's going to have more minerals and nutrients to it, so you're not just adding regular table salt to it. You guys can hear me okay? Did you miss anything?
No, we can hear you fine.
Last, but also make sure you're getting plenty of water. This is the time of year we don't want to dehydrate. It's very dry in the winter. Make sure we're refilling. One of my favorite things to do this time of year is a hot cup of water with lemon and ginger in the morning. Great way to refresh the body, detox the body after a night's rest. Makes you feel good, makes you think smarter when you're choosing your breakfast. You want to choose something healthier versus going like a muffin or something unhealthy.
Rachel, can I interrupt you for just a second? Could you say a little bit more about how to prepare that? So it's hot water and you said ginger?
What I usually do, you can either heat up a pot right on your stove of hot water and put ginger and a little lemon into your water, or a lot of people have Keurig machines nowadays, the little K-cups. Instead of putting a K-cup in the machine, simply put a mug under your Keurig machine, let the hot water go in without any coffee or tea, and then just add some lemon or ginger that way too. So 2 different.
Nice. How much ginger are you putting in? Like just like a pinch, or you're talking about fresh ginger, right?
Just take a little bit of like a natural fresh ginger. They sell them everywhere, regular grocery stores. And you want to take a little small knife, just kind of peel off the tip of it, and then a little shredder. So I have one of those plain, I forget that word. It's the shredding plane that you just literally just grate it on, just the same as zester, same size. That works well too. And use those things to add flavor, not to both waters and foods. That way we get away from some of this processed stuff that we're so reliant upon this time, mostly in our quick thinking world. So trying to think what, and then also make sure when we're doing the grains, we're focusing on the higher fiber grains, the more nutritious grains, ones that have a little more protein, like a quinoa, great healthy grain. It's actually a seed technically, but lots of great nutrients there. Your millets, things like that, things that we don't always pick up readily in the grocery store. Do you want me to give some reference? I can do that through the chat thread, or is the chat thread not working?
I'm sorry. Yes, no, I think it's working, and the people who see the recording should be able to see that as well. But if you'll say it also, so that if, in case they can't see the chat, they can at least hear you say what it is.
Absolutely. So there's a few different websites. First of all, you're more than welcome to visit my website. It's reshapingnutrition.com. And I'll take that in. So we have. Okay, so that's the first one. On reshapingnutrition.com, I have lots of great information. There is a recipe tab, so you can click on the recipes, and I have a lot of warm foods right now. One of my favorite recipes on there right now is an old traditional food from my upbringing called tsimis. It's sweet potatoes, carrots, and raisins. Heat it up in a crock pot with some other seasonings like your gingers and your cinnamon. Really nice and warm for your body. Very tasty, a little sweetness, delicious. So I just posted that on there recently. I learned that recipe from my mother, her. And then the other website, there's also a tab on my page that has, there's a blog tab which has the nutrition tips. There's also a food finds and food facts tab that give you information on like fruit, vegetables, anything that's in season right now. So great education source. You also can visit, there's another website called Local Harvest that, making sure I'm typing it in right for you, localharvest.org. This website, this website actually has some really great information on and local produce available right in your area. That's another place to look at. There's also other websites. I'll make sure to post as well. But lots of great things. There's even ways to advice on how to make sure, like there's one website called care2.com. It's just www.2.com. And they go into green living and choosing winter vegetables that are warmer. And they also advise on the dark orange vegetables, nuts, things like that that are warming to your body. So I'll make sure to post all those before you sign off, and so they're available for everybody.
Great, thank you, Rachel. That's wonderful.
Right there on the right-hand side in the chat box.
Okay, good. And if anybody has any questions for Rachel, you can tap it in the chat line. I'm not sure if we're seeing the chat from everyone. We're seeing Rachel's, but I'm not sure if everyone else is seeing it. So hopefully they're seeing it just fine, Rachel. Thank you, thank you. And you'll be coming up. You'll be seeing more of Rachel over the months. We may even get her to do us a cooking demos or a few, and just sharing her recipes. You can tell that this is Rachel's passion, and it's a lot of fun. So thank you, Rachel. Thank you. So we're going to thank you, Rachel. So we're going to chat that off now. Let me. Bye, Rachel. Thank you. Okay, so coming back to here, now we want to give you a couple of tips from us for keeping warm and protecting yourself from the elements and keeping your immunity up. And one of the things that we see all the time, and we comment on this, is when a lot of people, a lot of women, especially because we wear these lower cut blouses, and cold enters the body in some very strategic places. One is the chest. The other one is the back of the neck at C7, that large notch that's down right at the base of your neck. It enters there. It enters through the hands and the feet. and the top of the head as well. So these areas really need to be protected from the elements. And so oftentimes I'll see women who, they go into an office, they're working in an office building that's very, very warm, then they throw on their coat and they're hurrying into the grocery store, their coat's open, they've got all this area exposed, and all that cold is going into the body. And so that really stresses the body, weakens your immune system. And that cold, when it goes in, it can do anything. It can cause knee pain. It can cause shoulder pain. It can cause us to have weaken us to the point that we have a cold or the flu. So keeping these areas, like buttoning your coat up, if you need to, put a scarf. Even better is to put a scarf around your neck as well, because that's going to protect that C7 at the base of the neck. And also keeping your feet and your hands and the top of your head warm. Now, for me, I have thin hair. My head gets cold. You're not going to catch me out in the snow without a cold, without a hat. Now with Mary, you're not going to catch her with a hat unless I think you did wear skiing when you ski.
Skiing. That's the only time
she'd wear a hat. But keeping yourself as warm as possible really helps the immune system, as well as using the warming spices and things like that, the warming foods that Rachel was telling us about is also very, very good on keeping the immune system up and keeping you healthy. Mary, you had a tip on...
Oh, yeah. The only thing I would offer here, too, would be footwear. I was watching the news one night, and it showed this woman crossing the street to go into a store, and the street was icy, there was snow all over, and she had on high heels.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, ooh, that's precarious. But it also reminds me of a Dolly Parton movie I saw years and years and years ago. I can't even think of the name of it right now. But she was a psychotherapist giving advice in this movie, and someone called in and asked her this question. She took questions over the radio, and they asked her for advice on something, and her response was, never wear heels on a soggy lawn.
That's true. Well, and so the not wearing high heels on the ice and snow, or shoes that don't have grip on the bottom, that's going to protect you from falling and busting your behind or breaking a bone. So, and also too, those thinner soles don't keep that cold out of your feet, and they oftentimes will get wet because those aren't waterproof shoes. So it's it's precarious, but it really is important to carry an extra pair of shoes, and I know some people do, but thinking you can just slip in and slip out, you can literally be slipping.
Slip in and slip out.
You can be literally slipping. So that's the other thing for keeping ourselves safe and warm and healthy through the winter months. And hopefully, I think the groundhog saw its shadow supposedly, so we have 6 more weeks of winter. So we still have a little ways to go before we're back into the warmer spring. So
that'll be. Yeah.
So that's our tip on that. So where to from here? So let's talk about, people ask us, okay, now what? Now what? Now what? What's next? So you can find us, if you're new to Grace Flow and Ease, go to our website. There's a link, graceflowandease.com. There is a page there that says Our Book. You can find our book there if you haven't already read our book. There's the blogs that are there. You can find us on Facebook. Please go to our Facebook page, Grace Flow and Ease, and like our page, follow us there, or click follow. And we try to post there a few times a week, something inspirational, that kind of thing. So that should keep you in touch and get you going between then. Also, reading our blogs, giving us your feedback, that kind of thing. Also coming up.
If there's someone that could benefit from our services, we have a center, a holistic healthcare practice. It's called the Center of Wellness and Wisdom.
Right.
And you might just let them know about that and see if they have any interest in any of those kinds of services.
Yep. Yeah. We work to help people live their best physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And also on our graceflowandease.com site, there is a link under our services, there's a link that goes to our Center of Wellness and Wisdom site that tells you more about our holistic services. And so we work with people locally, but we also work with people all over the country by Skype and phone and all kinds of things. So you can find out more about all that. I want to let you know that coming up, last year we did 30 days of living with grace, flow, and ease. We're going to do that again starting April 1st. So you'll be getting information out on that. That is every day for 30 days you receive an inspirational quote and thought for the day in your email very, very early before you get up. It's there and ready for you. And then during that 4-week period, we also do a few webinars to answer people's questions. We actually survey the group that's taking the 30 days of living with grace, flow, and ease, ask for their feedback, ask for things they want us to elaborate on, and we do some webinars in that. And then this time in that package, there will also be an autographed book of the Living Grace Flow with Grace, Flow, and Ease from me and Mary. So that will be coming up. You'll be getting information on that in your email, and that makes a wonderful gift too. Last time, several people said, I want to give this as a gift. Let me know when you're going to do this again. So that's going to be coming up. So that's it for now. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here for our first one. And remember, one of the principles of grace, flow, and ease is that life is meant to be good.
Yes.
And so it's taking that time, finding what makes it good for you. And as Mary said, there is no dress rehearsal.
Right.
This is it. This is your life now. And
it will take the best in each of us to make the best world for all of us. So have fun, be safe, and stay as healthy as you possibly can.
Yes, and we hope to see you again next time, which will be the first Wednesday in March. That'll be March 4th, 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And please share it with your friends if you think others will benefit from this as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I guess we can all put our angel wings back on.
Oh, yeah.
And get ready to head back out. So
fly high.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.